Yeah, Baylor had a very surprising, perhaps inexplicable loss to Texas State on Saturday in the season opener, and that might take some of the shine off of this matchup with with Utah. But I feel like it should still be kind of a big game feel with the 12th ranked Utes coming to town on Saturday. Um, these teams certainly look to be on different levels right now. I mean, given that Utah completely neutralized Florida, that was the first SEC team to come to Utah, which is pretty cool. So I've seen Utah listed as a 6.5-point favorite for this one. What are you guys expecting? I mean, are you thinking blowout by the Utes, or does Baylor bounce back and make at least a game out of it? Either one of you.
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and start. Sorry, Zach. I'm not expecting a blowout, just because you look at this Utes team, and while everything that you mentioned there was true, Brice, the fact is the Utes are coming in probably playing backup quarterbacks of their own, right? Cam Rising, this is, he's been their starter the last few years, but he's still making his way back from an ACL injury. This is the first week where he's been able to face live defenses in practice, so he's really still kind of just getting acclimated. I would be, there's a theoretical chance he could be cleared to play against Baylor, but I'm kind of doubtful of that. I think they're probably going to give him a few more weeks personally. So we're going to once again see the two-headed monster of Bryson Barnes, who's kind of the prototypical, pocket drop back quarterback. And he'll be interchanged with Nate Johnson, who's really just he's kind of the change of pace guy. He's incredibly fast. It seems like he scores a rushing touchdown like every 6 or 7 touches, right? But the thing that you saw against Florida was that, like, really, other than that 70-yard touchdown pass they had to start the game, the offense was pretty inconsistent. The wide receiver group still isn't quite there. They're still missing their top tight end, Brant Keithy, also coming off an ACL surgery. So the defense is pretty legit, right? Like, against Florida, they wound up with 5 sacks, and that's with only one of their projected defensive line starters playing in the game. The other 3 were out, and that one who played only got a handful of snaps because he missed like most of the previous 3 weeks of fall camp with mono, right? So they're legit on defense. I figured, especially with the way that Baylor's offensive line looked in week 1, that could be a strength for Utes. But then again, they're probably not at the point yet where they're just going to, run it up on the scoreboard themselves.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would say Baylor didn't look legit in any area in game 1, did they, Zach? I mean, what are you
No.
thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I can't see a blowout, right? I have to think that Baylor responds in some way. I mean, it gives me hope. I think that at least outside of the offensive line, I think the brightest spot was just the offense in general. They got some yards. They were able to throw it around a little bit. I still think Sawyer Robertson can do that. So if the offensive line takes a small step forward, I think that 6.5, 7 points is about right. But I think that both of Utah's backup quarterbacks looked okay, even if they were a bit inconsistent. They looked at least they had a line to stand behind, and then, like you said before, Baylor's offensive line is just still in shambles, and with a elite defensive front that Utah has, man, it could get ugly. I don't think it will get ugly, but it definitely could.
Yeah, as Eric was talking, I was like, wow, he's making some really convincing points why this could be a close game. I'm not getting suckered in. I'm definitely picking Utah to win. Nothing Baylor showed me last week convinces me that they will bounce back. Now, college football is weird. As Zach sort of alluded to, I think we had some, optimism around this Baylor team going into this season. And a lot of those players that, I think had high hopes, certainly are still there. Even one of those being Sawyer Robertson. I mean, I think they're high on him. Obviously Blake Shapen to me really was probably the bright spot of game one. But Sawyer's a talented guy. You know, Zach, you listed his like high school stats. Obviously it's a different level,
Right.
but you know, he's like next level elite, you know, high school stats among the, you know, most historic in Texas with like, I don't know, 11,000 something yards or whatever. I mean, it was crazy, but it'll be interesting to see what he does on Saturday.
He's a little different quarterback, obviously, than Shapen. He's a little stand in the pocket and sling it rather than Shapen's little kind of make things happen with his legs or just kind of free ball it kind of. So it'll be interesting to see how the offensive line holds up with kind of a different style of quarterback back there. That's a whole new wrinkle, right? And Randall alluded to it possibly being a good thing. So we'll see how that plays out, but interesting to look out for.
Yeah.